Everyone knows what a no-hit run is, but what if you weren't a coward and instead face-tanked everything? Since avoiding attacks is integral to any Souls-like game, trying to beat it without avoiding damage can prove to be difficult, especially since bosses in Nioh 3 can take you from full health to zero in a matter of seconds. Which begs the question, can you all hit Nioh 3? While I struggle to complete the tutorial area, let's go over the rules of this run because Nioh 3 is a complex game and this is the most extensive rule set I've ever had to make. So feel free to skip ahead if this bores you. 1. I cannot avoid damage via dodging, blocking, parrying, jumping, or excessive repositioning. 2. If a boss or enemy misses me, that isn't my fault, they should just aim better. But for everyone's convenience, and partly because I am curious, I will be keeping track of how many times a boss whiffs during a boss fight. 3. The dojo part of the tutorial doesn't count. 4. I cannot play passively or summon NPCs or players. I must engage fights head-on. Moreover, if an enemy aggroes, I must kill it. 5. In group fights, I can freely choose the order of what enemies I kill within reason. Melee enemies must be killed before archers unless the archers aggro first, in which case I may choose to go kill the archer first. 6. Stealth is not allowed. However, using alternate routes or walking behind enemies is allowed. 7. All hit does not mean I have to go out of my way to kill every enemy I see. 8. Jumping is allowed in the context of repositioning, parkour, getting to an enemy, or as a requirement for an attack. However, it cannot be used as a direct method of avoiding an attack to the best of my ability. 9. If damage is coming from a trap, something inanimate, or something without a health bar, I can run past freely. However, that does not mean I can run away from it. i.e., I can run headfirst into a boulder trap, but not away. 10. I do not have to constantly run into enemy combat. Standing still to heal, buff, or to get my thoughts together is perfectly acceptable. 11. In the events of enemies being out of my reach, I may use a ranged weapon. However, in general, I will have to rush to kill ranged enemies with my sword. 12. Any movement that occurs in an attack animation is allowed, i.e. an attack that rapidly moves you forward, jumps in the air, or moves you around. However, I cannot use any attack that blocks or parries as a prerequisite or a byproduct. 13. While this rule set may seem exhaustive, this game has a lot of mechanics and loves random bullshit, so in some scenarios, I'll just have to make a decision based on the spirit of the run. With that out of the way, I successfully complete the tutorial, almost die before getting flashbanged and waking up 50 years in the past. Well, at least I'm not the only one confused. The first big problem of this run is the first proper boss fight of the game, Yamagata Masakage. To even stand a chance against him, I make sure to kill everything that enters my sight and loot all the shinies around the area. Currently, most human enemies don't pose a threat to me, although when it comes to group fights, it's a different story. Since I can't run past enemies, getting past to where my stuff drops is quite time-consuming, but with a mix of patience and some luck, I'm able to successfully get to the second shrine of the area before encountering a strong yokai. When it comes down to 1v1s, I still have the damage advantage since this is basically a less hands-on tutorial area, allowing me to kill the yokai after taking a hefty amount of damage, giving me access to the final shrine of the area and the first proper boss fight.
Identify me, Yamagata, the mightiest of Takeda's Crimson Army. A most foolish decision. I will rend it from your very body.
And I'm dead already. Lovely. Surely that was a fluke. Third tries the charm. Maybe a different weapon is all I need? Welp. I didn't want to use this early, but I guess I might as well equip the armor I got for buying the game early. While it's certainly stronger than what I currently have equipped, it only increases my defense enough to not die to some combos. meaning I just end up being left on death's door and end up dying before I even deal 20% of his health bar. I meet death over and over and over again. The problems I have are numerous, but the biggest ones I have are limited healing, low damage, and getting stun locked. But with a limited area and loot pool, my options on getting stronger are also limited. And at this point, I truly thought that the run would be over before even killing the first boss. But I don't give up that easily. There is still ways I can get stronger. First off, I can kill these revenant enemies around the area for a chance at their loot. However, none of them drop anything useful so early in the game, so that's out. I can also grind for some healing items. Nioh 3 works on Bloodborne logic where you can kill enemies for elixirs, up to a maximum of 8. And luckily for me, this stronger soldier enemy has a decently high drop rate for elixirs. With my better armor equipped, killing them consistently is manageable, although I typically end up on death's door by the end of the fight. Repeat this process enough times, and I have the maximum possible healing items, giving me the confidence to try the boss again. And while it doesn't stop me from getting comboed into oblivion and dying, I eventually learn when I can safely heal, and by using all 8 elixirs, I'm able to get the boss to half health. At which point he goes into phase 1.5 and gets even tougher, but that's a later problem. For now, I'm just glad I made some progress. I decide to test some more weapons again to see if maybe a clear winner would shine through, and while the spear showed some good potential, I still decided that the dual swords would be best for this run. Which means it's now time for the last option on getting stronger, killing Mr. Yokai here for the chance at a level 6 blue weapon. Each enemy in this game has a maximum possible loot table, and if I get lucky enough, I should eventually get the strongest weapon possible for this point in the game. And eventually, I managed to get it.
Fuck yeah! That's what I've been trying to get! Holy shit!
With a bit of extra grinding to max out the familiarity of the weapon for some more damage, and getting some more useful armor pieces to put on my character, I had managed to min-max myself to a reasonable extent without spending more than an hour grinding. However, there is one more vital item that I need to kill this guy: Sacred Waters. There's only 4 of them in this area, and I can't replenish them to my knowledge. So if I lose them, I'll have to reload a backup save. Since this item increases my key recovery speed, it will allow me to attack more often, and maybe stun the boss more consistently. The only downside is it has a long animation, so it's hard to apply it safely during the battle. So it'll mainly just help in the first part of the fight, since I'll apply it before entering the arena. With that, I have revealed every possible power-up method and item that I can use at this point in the game. If I can't kill him with this, there won't be anything left for me to do. My only choice left is to fight. Fight and hope that with some luck, this will be enough.
Rending from your very body. We've only just begun!
Whoa!
And then thanks to the yokai transformation, unlocking at the right moment, I'm able to gain just enough power to take me over the finish line.
I won! I've been at this for hours. Oh my goodness.
To think, one with such talent was just sitting idle. A most pleasant surprise.
Wow, the title card. It's only been like, what, 3 hours?
At long last, I've finally arrived in the open world. Strong enough to 1v1 most enemies that come my way. My current plan is just to kill anything that enters my sight and power up as fast as I can. So while I go on an indiscriminate killing spree, there's a few important things I need to keep an eye out for. First is any samurai locks. I need to quickly unlock more abilities and obtain all the stances, so getting at least 4 of them will be important. Second is soul cores. Omnio magic is ridiculously powerful in this game, so getting some buff items will be the only way to survive some encounters. Third is general objectives that will give me buffs. Stuff like finding kodamas, completing Jizo statues, and clearing many crucible things. Ultimately, while small buffs, they will eventually add up later, and every little thing helps in a challenge like this. Some of them even unlock new mechanics. Last, and most obviously, the more enemies I kill, the more Amrita I get, and the more I can level up. Since levels work on a curve in Nioh 3, the earlier levels go a lot further in power spikes. The difference between a level 1 and a level 40 is much greater than a level 40 and a level 100. But overall, the overworld in general doesn't prove too much of an issue, and anytime I do end up dying, I can just try to fight again, hoping for some better RNG. Although, not everything can be killed in this way.
Oh! This is what I've heard about in, do I have like a... full context, I read about this in the wiki after beating the game to see what bosses I had missed. I have not fought this fucker thus far, so this is gonna be an interesting experience, I'd say. Oh shit, he's there! This guy is not to be fucked with. This guy is not to be fucked with.
And after learning a very important lesson, I finish up killing the remaining enemies in the area.
This is what you wanted, right? This is what you wanted. Don't be sad when you get cut up like a bunch of sashimi. Oh no, if it isn't the consequences of your actions! I'm more than happy than to bring the pain. Surprise! I mean, it seems I've cleared most of the area. There's not too much I've missed, so it should be fine. Because the next stuff's kind of brutal, so I want to make sure that I am good and prepared. Although I can enter the crucible, there's still 2 bosses left in the overworld that annihilated me earlier. First off is the Mizuki. And it's here that the real power of the water sword skill is on display. You see, earlier after I used some of the samurai locks to unlock high stance, which increases the damage I deal at the cost of more ki usage, I was able to unlock the skill Water Sword for my dual sword moveset. And this move absolutely shreds enemies. The only downsides being how much ki it uses, leaving me unable to attack again after finishing the move, and the fact that mobile enemies can dodge it once it's started. But overall, being able to time this move properly and learn the proper applications of it is what is going to make or break the first half of this run. The next boss is the Shadow Blade, which is surprisingly easy now that I have enough ki and damage to force his entire ki bar to disappear when he is blocking. Seriously, the Water Sword skill is devastating to human enemies. Repeat that as many times as needed, and he dies in quite an anticlimactic fashion. I love free shit. Roaring Dragon Deflect. Wow, that would be really great if I was doing something else. With the hardest overworld bosses killed, I run around finishing up anything I forgot to kill before mentally preparing myself and entering the crucible. Ah, great. Everything's on fire. Lovely. Nothing says fun like fire and... hey. What's that happening to my health bar? So, crucibles are a new mechanic in Nioh, and with that comes an assortment of bullshit debuffs.
such as this weird effect that reduces your max HP every time you're hit. This is meant to discourage panic dodging and force the players to do better, that way they can't heal to full after a devastating combo. I'm sure you can see the problem this poses. Since I obviously cannot dodge, I will be dealing with this effect constantly. The only upside is that this effect is removed the more damage you deal to enemies, which I am also doing constantly, putting me in a state of flux of having my full health bar and not having my full health bar. But what does that exactly mean for me? Well, for the most part, it doesn't affect in the crucibles much until I get to the boss fights. If I take a large amount of damage during a boss combo, I am left unable to heal back to full, putting me in danger of dying quickly. So I'm forced to attack the boss to regain my max HP before I can heal. However, this obviously extends the window the boss has to successfully kill me, or they just reduce my max HP even further. It's an effect that is a huge pain in the ass for this run, and I will be developing as many countermeasures as possible later, but for now I just kinda have to deal with it to the best of my ability. But with that, I arrive at the first crucible boss of the run, Jakotsu-baba. Well, that doesn't bode well. I decide to take a break to run around the area, completing a few quests I missed while I think about what to do next. The problem isn't my gear or weapons this time, and I have already unlocked the skills I need for this fight. With no significant way of increasing my power, the only way I have left to beat this boss is of strategy. And I hear you asking, what strategy? This is a challenge where you're running straight forward at an enemy and spamming buttons. How much thought could go into a run like that? Like what, 5 brain cells? Well, there's a surprising amount you have to consider in a run like this, so let me educate you on the economics of ki. Ki is stamina in this game for those who are confused. In Nioh 3, taking damage and using attacks drain your ki. This is significant in any fight, but especially boss fights. The biggest problem I'm having here is constantly running out of ki. There are a couple things I can do to conserve it though. For example, if I'm low on ki and I know the boss is about to attack, using another attack knowing I'm going to get interrupted can be beneficial since it'll put me in a staggered state that will allow me to rapidly regenerate ki. Or if I'm high on ki, I need to only attack when I know I'm not going to get interrupted to conserve ki. Moreover, this boss is very mobile and likes to jump around, so knowing when it's going to dodge will help me not waste attacks. Or my favorite method is Guardian Spirit skills. They take a bit to charge up, but they do good damage to the enemy and regenerate ki while you're using them, although if you're too low on ki, you can also get interrupted out of it. TLDR, there is still quite a bit of skill required for this run, but most of it just deals with timing my attacks properly. With that in mind, this boss might be possible so long as I manage my ki efficiently. Fuck yeah! Holy shit! Oh, my heart is beating so fast. Okay, I need to rest. That is progress. Something something lore, flashbang, a bunch of evil things hate me, magic sword, another flashbang, meet my dead friend, meet my dead father, bunch of enemy forces invading, even more lore, flashbang, something something, world between worlds, another flashbang, I don't know. Just send me in a direction and I will start killing anything that enters my sight. With Jakotsu dead, all of the map opens up to me to explore. While it allows me to rapidly increase my power by fighting enemies I'm not supposed to be fighting yet, this also applies to the world bosses. Yeah, I should probably come back here later.
That cat's kicking ass, I guess? Get him, boy. No. No! It's dead. What the fuck?
Of all the world bosses, Daidara Bochi is quite an interesting one, considering that you don't actually fight him. The main goal of this sub-area is to get to the top of the shrine and seal him away, which requires me to kill a ton of enemies along the way while getting blasted by him. As annoying as this area is to complete, it is also a necessary strategic point to take, considering beating Daidara Bochi will give me his soul core, which gives me access to 5 sloth talismans. For those who have never used sloth talismans in Nioh before, they don't only slow down the enemy's movement speed, but also their attack speed. As you can probably imagine, this is stupidly overpowered in any run. The only problem being that the talisman doesn't last long, and each reapplication of the talisman takes more, due to their resistances to it increasing. So for most bosses, I can only apply sloth to them twice. But if they die before the second sloth debuff runs out, it won't matter. And after clearing up the area, I claim the soul core that I came here for.
Nah, I'd win. You're getting smarter. I don't like it. I'll tell you what your job is. Your job is to sit there and die. Well, I know it's about to happen, but I can't avoid it. Please let me have a turn. Screw it, we're going cinema mode. Fuck you. Oh, please tell me this isn't locked. I'm allowed to have fun? God forbid.
With better gear and sloth talisman at the ready, I choose to get my revenge on the spear boy. And it's here that another useful aspect of the sloth talisman becomes apparent. Because it slows their attack speed and ki doesn't regenerate in the middle of an attack, it also affects how quick that they can regen ki, allowing me to bully Naito Masatoyo and remove the majority of his ki with my combos. With him dead, I explored a map a bit more. Mostly die, but with some persistence, I arrive at a rather unremarkable minor crucible. While this isn't really much more difficult than my other crucibles, the thing that makes this one special is that the final boss is a Gaki chief. And in this instance, it drops a soul core that has the extraction talisman on it. I didn't notice that it was on the soul core until later, but trust me when I say that this single-handedly underrated talisman is what will make my build truly overpowered later. With the way cleared, I start heading towards the next story boss. Essentially, I've been tasked with storming this castle by myself while my allies go do... Well, they said they are going to help, but I have this weird feeling that I'm only going to see them when I've done all of the work. surely they will arrive to at least help with the boss fight, right? Right? Eventually, I arrive at this human mini-boss blocking the way, who ends up irritating me so much I go and forge myself a bunch of up-to-date weapons just to beat his ass. The problem with this guy is he has a bunch of allies surrounding him, and if it turns into a 2v1, I don't really stand much of a chance. But eventually, I'm able to position myself properly to force him into a corner and 1v1 him. Receiving a pretty nice pair of dual swords for my trouble. With him dead, I'm not that far away from the next story boss. With my extraction talismans equipped, I now have much more sustainability against enemies. I'm sure some of you have noticed by now, but for those who haven't, pay attention to how much I'm healing when I'm slashing an enemy. That is all due to the extraction talisman. Alone, it doesn't really do much besides give you more Amrita or build up your yokai gauge slightly faster, but when paired with effects such as life recovery upon Amrita absorption, it turns a mildly useful talisman into something that can heal my entire health bar in seconds. Better yet, it also combos well with water talismans that can hit the enemy and proc Amrita absorption, allowing even more passive regen, so long as I'm close to the enemy. Of course, that doesn't guarantee my victory. Eventually, I arrive at the next story boss, Baba Nobuharu. But no matter how I try, I'm simply not strong enough. For obvious reasons, each boss keeps getting stronger, and strategy alone will not solve all of my problems. Beyond just needing some better armor and more soul core options, a huge issue I'm encountering is not being able to safely reapply my buffs in the middle of a battle. Because I'm actually doing pretty decent in the fight until my buffs run out. Then I either promptly die or just take too much damage trying to reapply my buffs. With these problems in mind, I take a break from the boss fight. My first goal is to clear the way of the Warrior Novice and the way of the Omnio Novice. For those who don't know, after progressing far enough into the story, you unlock training missions that you can undergo at any time. When each of these are successfully completed, you unlock more abilities in general in relation to the mission you chose. And completing these can give you anywhere between a minor power-up to game-changing passives. But the rewards for the basic ones is more ability options for my weapon, and unlocking a skill that allows me to use Omnio Magic much faster, which is a huge benefit in the middle of combat. After that, I return to fight Hammerdew to get my revenge, chase a cat.
Oh, thank you. You led me to a chest. You're such a good kitty.
Then make my way through an area I'm overleveled for to meet up with Honda Tadaketsu, who, by the way, was a absolute badass in real-life history. This dude was known as the warrior who surpassed death itself. Apparently, he fought in 57 different battles and never once sustained a significant wound. This is all a roundabout way of saying that he is way weaker in this game than he should be, as proven by the way I absolutely body him in a duel I have with him later. Considering how he supposedly never lost a fight to any samurai, I am definitely messing with the timeline more than I should be. Although I guess this game isn't exactly going for historical accuracy, but I digress. I did explore a cave that Honda wanted me to deal with. A very big cave, mind you, but keep in mind I am more than overleveled for this area and I just want the soul cores. But eventually, I come to the terrifying end boss of the side area, reused assets from Nioh 1. On a side note, I hated this boss so much in Nioh 1, and it's no different here in Nioh 3. It's a boss that is mobile and loves to fly around, making it hard for me to hit it. However, it also struggles to hit me since aiming directly downward seems to be too difficult for it to comprehend. So after a not-so-intense fight, I claim my reward of nothing that is actually useful for me, then fight another terrifying boss I'm overleveled for, reused assets from Nioh 2. Is it just me, or is there a certain pattern that I'm picking up on? In any case, this is another example of highly mobile boss that doesn't like to sit still, but when it does, well, it doesn't last long. I didn't decide to take up Honda Tadaketsu's offer of a duel and proceed to absolutely body him, mainly because I was supposed to do this quest way earlier. After that, I go on a killing spree and get forced to team up with this NPC to clear out yokai in a temple. It's worth noting that, although for most of these areas I had been a tad overleveled, I'm still gaining good Amrita from killing all the enemies. Also, the quest rewards have been decent enough that I've been able to unlock more abilities, so this side tangent isn't without its purpose. Eventually, I confront the boss at the end of the temple. Reused assets from Nioh 2. It is said that in all of modern challenge running, there is no Souls tuber that can beat Blue Thunder in a battle of random bullshit. With the sole exception of Satru Yamfa, of course. And at last, with a bunch of the world explored and bosses killed, I'm able to spend a ton of prestige points, increasing my power further. For those who are confused, I am as well, but Nioh 3 gives you prestige points for doing random stuff that you can spend on very minor upgrades. However, as noted before, every small increase in power percentage counts in a run like this, so keeping track of titles and doing stuff around the map is important to get as much prestige points as I can. But with that, I've explored everything I can. Besides a few minor things I missed, I likely won't be able to get significantly stronger. Which leads me back to Nobuharu.
None shall hinder my
Will you? Will you, though? With him finally dealt with, I'm able to quickly head to the next story boss. Not without getting horribly lost, though.
Forgive me.
I've arrived. It's me. I'm gonna save you, fam. No. You're not dying on my watch! They'll have to get through me first. No! He was beheaded! You bastards. You evil bastards. I'll kill you all. I won't forgive what you did to Tim! No, no. I'll do my best to protect you. Where'd I go? Where'd I go? You're not safe. Oh, nice. Nice job. Nice assist, Bob. You did well. Stand proud, Bob. You were strong. I will avenge their deaths tenfold. Because nothing says fun in a challenge where you can't dodge, like a boss that constantly moves. Now, your proof of your resolve is kinda cool, to be honest, because that horse is sick as fuck.
So, this horse boss. While definitely not the worst I've faced, he's certainly not easy. Since he loves to move around, it makes it hard to continuously punish him. However, since he is a boss on horseback, he loves to whiff attacks. Not to mention that his AI kinda gets confused when he runs into walls. Overall, he's much easier than Nobuharu, so after a bit, I just managed to kill him. Oh look, another crucible. Just lovely. Well, guess I have to go in to save my father and avoid causing a time paradox that could possibly rip all of reality asunder. Wait, what do you mean we don't do time paradoxes here in Nioh 3? So, this crucible has a really fun mechanic where if you touch this white fire, you die instantly. Yep, that's the whole shtick of this crucible. That, and fire, and lava, and anything else that would annoy someone who doesn't watch where they step. Luckily, I've already made just about every stupid environmental mistake possible in this crucible in my first playthrough, because I saw lava and thought, I wonder how long I can survive in it. The answer is not very long. It's lava. Basically just the first crucible, except even more fire.
Here, take this.
He gave me booze! Hell yeah, brother! Is that so funny, huh? Huh? Don't mess with me. Don't you think you can even take me? You know what I've done? If I can face bosses head on, what makes you think you're gonna do any better? Ow, 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 ow. Is what I would be saying if I weren't about to kill you. Look, I'll deal with the pain in the ass, or you can help me with the pain in the ass. For someone who's called the Master of Tactical Retreats, I'm seeing an odd lack of tactical retreats from you. I'll kill you then. Alright. Well, Sloth, Extraction, Water Familiar. I mean, I ain't exactly the bestest build, but it's my build.
Ah, Takeda Shingen, the Tiger of Kai. Or should I call him the Coward of Kai? Because this guy just loves his parrying. If I attack him during his parry window, which is quite large, mind you, he will deflect my attack, deal a good amount of key damage to me, and start walloping my ass. This is a huge problem since it makes my current strategy of spamming the water sword skill more difficult to employ. So I try again and again, trying to learn his patterns, but because he can use it any time and it takes some time to stop the skill, learning when to stop attacking is quite difficult. But that's just one problem. Overall, the boss is quite tanky and still deals a ton of damage. Since he is a human enemy that blocks, it makes my extraction talisman build less effective. And overall, he's just an annoying boss to fight in general. However, despite all this, I still felt like the boss fight wasn't outside the realm of possibility. Some of my attempts got shockingly close to beating him, even if they resulted in losses. All that proved to me is that I just need to do some exploring for a better weapon, or some slightly better armor to give me the edge needed to beat him.
Whatever that was, fuck you. Oh my goodness. It was dual. I'm going to kill somebody. Now, that had better be. Thank goodness.
And after getting a weapon that is up to level of the area, I go in on another indiscriminate killing spree with the sole purpose of maxing out my familiarity. A few levels in familiarity may not seem like much of a damage increase, but when it comes to the early game, a few extra levels on a weapon can be the difference between life and death. In the later game, a weapon being a few levels behind won't have that much of an impact comparatively, but it's always nice to be able to deal as much damage as possible. But with my side quest detours complete and weapon familiarity maxed out, I'm finally ready to return to the Coward of Kai.
I pray you won't disappoint me.
Fuck you! I win!
Okay. I know you're about to revive yourself, but fuck you.
In the true fashion of the Coward of Kai's title, Takeda Shingen ever so bravely runs away. I'm sure this won't come back to annoy me later.
Those who dream of a peaceful world, we have shouldered inescapable hardships. The lives of even the most innocent have been taken. Those with power cannot bring about peace from the wrong path.
And as a reward, I finally obtain Guardian Spirit skill Burst Break, finally giving me some method of defending against red attacks. While I storm the Cowards of Kai's castle to put an end to him, let me go more in detail about this upgrade since it's a bit vague as far as the rules are concerned. I banned Burst Breaks in this run since it's essentially another form of parrying, since it requires skill to time and doesn't really adhere to the spirit of an all-hit run. This upgrade, however, falls into a realm of interpretation. With this enabled, all that has to happen is the Guardian skill attack making contact with an enemy during a red attack animation. While you could argue there is some skill to it, considering the window and range you get with a lot of Guardian Spirit attacks, it makes it more of a low IQ way of preventing the attack. Considering it's more of an offensive defense that staggers an enemy rather than parries, I decided that it should be allowed. Not to mention the fact that I cannot disable this upgrade if I wanted to. And otherwise, I wouldn't be able to freely use Guardian skills out of fear it would accidentally hit an enemy at the start of a red attack animation. So, if someone wants to do this run without Guardian skills, be my guest. You are just needlessly making yourself suffer more in a challenge run that's already cancerous. But at last, I arrive at the final fight against the Coward of Kai. My bad, the final fight against the Kitty of Kai. That is one ugly-looking cat. Let me tell you about the good parts of this fight first. There's a hot spring right next to the boss fight, so I can start the fight with some extra health regen, and since he's a yokai boss, my extraction talisman strategy works again. As for the bad parts, he is a very grab-crazy boss. Combine that with his high stagger amount, and he will combo me with the majority of his health without me being able to do anything. But probably the worst part is how mobile he is. Just like a kitty cat, he loves jumping up, climbing on walls, and doing whatever will annoy you the most. Now, if only I could find a vase to put on the counter to distract him with, or a cucumber. Since he is the final boss of this time period, once he's dead, I'll have a new open area to explore. There's not really much I can do in this scenario since my gear is already up to date with this area, so I just have to lock in and beat my head against this brick wall, hoping that eventually it will break. I don't even know what was going on in that last half. I was just spamming buttons to see what would work. Oh my goodness.
There's been no battle we
I've also-
cannot win.
Shut up, kitty cat. Okay, kitty of Kai. Why don't you go back to your scratching post?
Do not defy heaven, but grow old and perish. So taught the Buddha.
We cannot escape our own mortality, kitty cat. Can I have that helmet, though? Pick up the helmet. Can we pick up the kitty? The helmet? Well, it seems I have arrived almost 400 years in the past, and now it's winter. If someone would have told me in advance, I would have brought a jacket. In case you're confused about the plot, I am as well, we have officially lost the plot. Why I need to keep going back in time is a bit beyond me, but I'm sure that there will be no consequences due to my actions. After all, time travel would never have unintended consequences to reality, especially if I go around defeating some of the most famous and influential beings in history. There's a lot I can say about this fight, but compared to the Kitty of Kai, it's so much easier. After learning when I can attack the Tengu without him completely dodging my attacks and spamming Water Sword at the right times, he doesn't stand much of a chance. Although part of the reason this victory is so simple is because some of the great Tengu's attacks just tend to whiff when you're right next to him. A lot of his attacks are AoE based as well, so they don't deal as much damage as something easier to dodge, making me quite an effective counter to the Tengu.
Save the mountains, allies. Yoshitsune.
I'm Minamoto no Yoshitsune. Thank you.
Right, more exposition. So basically, my chill dude Yoshitsune here wants my help purifying 3 barriers to save Japan and stop his brother from committing multiple different war crimes. You know, typical sibling activity. It's at this point in the run where just about every normal enemy stands no chance against me. Most stronger enemies that serve as the tougher fights are little more than 20-second fights with my current build. Of course, there's still some bosses that have the capability to absolutely demolish me, such as this Omnio Mage boss. Once I get past him, I'll have full access to the overworld, but I need to increase my strength a bit first. I go and trade with some NPCs, complete and accept some quests, then go back and kill some yokai I missed, such as this one. His soul core is especially valuable since it'll allow me to summon some lightning familiars that I'll be using for the rest of the game. Or this crab here that is dangerously close to water. He doesn't actually drop anything useful for this run, but I just really wanted to kill this crab. And last but not least, I finally have unlocked the next dojo missions for Warrior and Omnio Magic. Well, if the game didn't bug out and refuse to display them, that is. I'm sure this bug won't have any unintended consequences later, but with a new, more powerful Omnio Magic combination in hand, I'm ready to fight the All-Seeing Mage. While I struggle to kill this area boss that is way harder than some story bosses for some reason, let me inform you on the next important part of my build. Status effects. Specifically, Lightning and Water. If I successfully proc Lightning on an enemy, it will slow down their movement and attack speed. This stacks with the Sloth Talisman, so if I can get both of them to proc, then the enemy is practically incapacitated for that time. The second effect, Water, simply reduces their defenses. Quite useful if I want to deal a bunch of damage at the same time. And then there's a third, more powerful effect. If I can get 2 elemental status ailments to proc at the same time, then the Confused status effect will proc, that will further reduce their defenses, essentially leaving them slowed and with 2 defense-reducing debuffs on them, allowing me to shred bosses' HP within moments. However, getting that to happen in practice is way easier said than done, but it's always good to have some options. But after a long drawn-out fight, I finally kill the All-Seeing Mage and get my reward. a new weapon skill for the dual swords that I will be abusing the hell out of as soon as the game lets me attempt the dojo missions. I then meet up with my boy Yoshitsune and eliminate a camp of yokai with him before testing out my build on a mini-boss yokai. Oh, I have a feeling this run's about to turn in my favor. Well, that was a minor boss yokai though. What about an even stronger world boss yokai like the Onyoki? Well, well, how the tides of battle turn. I have a feeling this run may be possible after all. As powerful as this combo is though, boss yokai and some enemies are able to dispel status effects when they create their dark realm, or during something like a phase transition. So it doesn't last as long as it could, but while the debuffs stay procced, I can easily take off half of a boss's health bar with some even decent luck. The game even decides to start working as intended and allows me to attempt the next warrior and Amyo Dojo missions.
Ow, 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 ow! Please do not stab me. Please do not stab me. Wow. Fucking rude. Literally stabs his lord through the chest with a wooden sword. That could not have been pleasurable. Please, please, please. Luckily for me, the spin to win strategy is still in business. Okay, I barely lived through that. This looks like it would be very annoying. Spinning Dragon! God of Wind wins. Very funny. Fuck you. I don't know what some of these talismans do. Wow. Okay, whatever you say, no matches. If you say I did good, sure, I'm only like halfway dead.
So, Spinning Dragon. This move absolutely kicks ass. Just look at the damage numbers on these enemies. It's not the greatest against smaller enemies since a lot of the hitboxes are in the air, but when the full combo hits, it hits hard. As far as damage goes, it rivals Water Sword in DPS with an added bonus of increasing maneuverability during the attack, decreasing the chance that an enemy is able to successfully dodge it. It also allows me to hit flying enemies or other mid-air enemies easier. Water Sword is still better against a pinned enemy and provides vaster healing though, but Spinning Dragon adds a nice bit of variety to my moveset. And I can't forget about this bird that I hate.
I fucking hate this bird, by the way. Fuck! 70,000 out of the... My shit! You fucker! I am killing that bird. I fucking hate that bird so much. This game! That fucking bird! I'm gonna end you. Well. Not being able to dodge is difficult. No. I have something specifically for fuckers like you. Well. There it is. A Gust Talisman. Fucking try me. Nope, does not work. I didn't realize the talisman had a whenever the fuck we feel like it policy of working. It works once every sometime. No! No! This game! That fucking bird ran away. That's not what I wanted to open, game. No! Fuck you. Oh no. Do it. Yes, we needed the full-ass transformation cutscene that I couldn't even see because I was in the wall, but... Fuck off! Stupid fucking bird. You cannot let her get an attack off. We're all going to die. What the fuck is your problem? What is your problem? Die! Okay. This is gonna be a very annoying boss fight if I can't get it successfully.
At last, I finally arrive at the first boss guarding a barrier, Otoroshi. This is one of the more interesting bosses, and I'm using interesting in a way that means, why the hell is this thing teleporting, grabbing me, and throwing me into the ground constantly? It's almost as if this entire fight is a perfect counter for my build. In the first phase, at least. For whatever reason, this boss gets significantly easier in the second phase due to the reduced amount of grabs and increased amount of whiffing. The damage the boss deals increases significantly, but that's less of an issue. Overall, most of this fight is entirely RNG dependent, but nothing I can't overcome with a bit of patience. While I could go fight some of the other barrier bosses, this one is especially important because the soul core it drops will give me access to the barrier talisman. These are the last important cornerstone of the magic portion of my build, since it will rapidly regenerate my ki, allowing me to attack more often and increase my survivability. So I'd prefer to kill him here and now. Also, quick additional note that I haven't covered yet, but it's especially important to know in this boss fight. Nioh3's hitboxes behave weird sometimes. When an enemy or character moves and they collide, the game doesn't like having them in the same place, so it kind of just moves you out of the way, resulting in what almost resembles teleportation. This is just Nioh3's physics freaking out a bit, though. But eventually, like every other boss, with enough time and effort, Otoroshi goes down.
Get fucked.
But with him dead and my build complete, it's about time to let loose and have some fun. Oh hey, Yoshitsune! Glad to see you here again. So in case you guys don't know, Yoshitsune was an absolute badass in Nioh 2. I'm bringing this up here for two reasons. One, I absolutely love his character and armor design, and two, he is quite honestly one of the most useless NPCs in proportion to how powerful he should be. Historically, Yoshitsune was an excellent samurai as well as a strategist. Although things did not go that well for Minamoto no Yoshitsune in the end. In any case, he was done dirty by the tough boss's now your ally game design mechanic tenfold. Because in this boss fight that he is supposed to be assisting you in, by the way, he plays passively, won't take aggro, and does pitiful damage when he does help. And perhaps the thing that irritates me the most is that when you die, he just kind of gives up. Since I cannot see myself winning the fight currently, I decide to take a break from that annoyance and start heading towards the next barrier location to fight a different story boss, leaving a trail of dead yokai corpses in my wake. Or at least I would have been able to fight the next story boss if I didn't come back the next day to see this happen.
So, I just got a Steam Cloud error. I have no idea how much progress I've lost. As long as I can have, like, some of the boss shit. I'll know when I've loaded in. That's multiple days of progress just gone. Because this is when I quit out to get, Battle Scroll. I'm gonna go see if I can find a backup save or some shit. Let me figure this shit out.
So, having progress reset due to a bug is not something that I typically tolerate. And yes, it is a known bug that hasn't been fixed yet. So, to make up for the time I lost and everything I did, I decided to give myself 2.5 million Amrita as a consolation, which is enough to get up to the level that I was previously at, plus some extra due to the equipment, time, and sanity I lost. So, for your convenience, I've put a counter for every time my progress gets reset. Well, I guess I need to catch back up to where I used to be. Hey, Thanks for watching thus far. It takes me a while to make videos like this, so if you've enjoyed, liking, subscribing, or leaving a comment related to the video helps a small creator like me a lot. And it also helps others see this video that you have hopefully enjoyed thus far. Sorry for the interruption. With that, back to the video. With that, I finally arrive at... I seem to be getting distracted. Right. So, Ibaraki Dojo is one of those fights when you're left wondering why the boss is difficult. The majority of her attacks will just whiff if you're close enough, so I have dubbed this boss the Lord of Whiffs, because it's not even funny how many attacks are missing. I'd love to say the battle was close and cinematic, but it wasn't. This is supposed to be a difficult story boss guarding one of the seals. My best guess is the boss was designed around punishing panic rollers, but I digress. Dear Nioh 3 developers, please make this boss harder, not the player. Since I'm still a bit scared to fight the human boss, I kill some more enemies around the area until I get some armor and weapons that are up to date with the area. After that, I'm finally ready to face that one human boss that really hates me for some reason. I know I'm not supposed to take it personally, but when there's two targets and you always aim for me, it's very hard to not take it personally. Please, die. Just die. Holy shit.
But I have taken the measure of your strength.
Uh-huh.
Share this with Lord Yoritomo at once.
Yeah, sure. You've gotten very valuable data from someone who just runs at you swinging his sword. Now you know the perfect counter. Wait, actually, if you did know that about someone, you would be able to prepare something very dastardly against someone so stupid, but... Well, I'm glad that's over. Because, for whatever reason, I decided that now was a great time to fight the Blood Edge Demon. Surely I can defeat the Blood Edge Demon now. And technically I can with some patience, but it took way longer than necessary to kill him, and the rewards I got for killing him was kind of useless. And the ones that were upgrades would be replaced in the next 15 minutes of me running around in this crucible, compared to the over 2 hours worth of attempts I spent trying to actually kill that dude.
I'm sliding.
Speaking of the crucible, the gimmick of this one is you get frozen and can't do much after spending too long in certain subsections. so I spend most of my time in this crucible as a popsicle. Thus, I have dubbed it the annoying-ass popsicle crucible of stun locking.
I'm gonna be enjoyed being frozen for the next 3 business days. That was a misclick. It's just ahead. Yeah, it's just ahead. Go on, let's watch the cutscene as I still take another like 10 minutes to get to here. You know, according to Nioh 2 lore, at least, that sword should be absolutely kicking ass right now, but again, that should not be working on him. That dude was a badass in Nioh 2, but sure, whatever game. If he's losing now, I guess he's losing. Everybody do the electric slide. Oh, that is a terrifying monster to see. Of all the things to see, that is not one I want to face. Unfortunately for them, even if I don't want to, even when debuffed, they hurt like hell. Unfortunately for them, I do kick ass with this build. Surprise. Look at how annoying this is. Okay, it's about to get... I've faced a Blood Edge demon. What makes you think that you're gonna fare any better? Oh, I guess that's one of the swords that I've been looking for. Oh, damn. Oh! That's fine. You know, from a forest fire preventing perspective, maybe it's overcrowded with trees. However, in an environment such as this, I highly doubt that we have too many trees. Although one could say that one really big tree is taking up most of the nutrients from the ground, but I'm not even quite sure how fictional tree things work, but... Oh no, please. I'm going down for a bit. It's not helping that much anymore. No! Not, the person I definitely haven't met before.
And so, I arrived to help my boy defeat his human brother. Never mind, he's a bird now. So, Bird Boy here is the final story boss of this time period. And man, is he annoying. Overall, the biggest problem comes from just how aggressive this boss is. I can put a lot of pain on him at first, but when my Omnio magic runs out, he's able to quickly kill me before I have a chance to safely reapply it. Not to mention how mobile this boss is. But like all the bosses before, all I have to do is learn when I can actually attack without him dodging away. Right? But even with that, victory eludes me. So I go search for something that would allow me to increase my Omnio magic duration. But the only skill that does that is a reward for a dojo mission I can't unlock yet. So it's something to look forward to later, but not helpful for now. If only there was some other way to increase magic duration. And then it hit me.
Read what the damn stats do, you dumbass!
So, Int apparently increases the effect duration of Omnio Magic. I legitimately didn't notice, even though I have played a copious amount of Nioh 1 and 2. Either that, or I just forgot at some point. So, I reallocate all my stats, which is free in this game, and then get back to slamming my head against the brick wall, known as that bird yokai that I dislike, until said brick wall hopefully breaks.
Crossblades with the leader of a clan!
innocent.
The one of them clearly has better armor. Although both of their armors are still pretty cool, so I guess they have good fashion sense. And for once in my life, my armor doesn't look like something that was clobbered together out of my closet. Look at me, I found the twig. Great. I'm now almost 1,000 years further back in the past. I swear, if this ends with me reaching the beginning of time itself, that would be kinda cool. Although, at this point, the butterfly effect is surely at its strongest. But, oh well. Guess I'll just try to not think about the consequences of my actions. My current build makes short work of everything that comes into my sight before I see a familiar face. Who has turned evil now? I can tell because her eyes are red. Apparently, Kusanagi has been corrupted by the Dark Radiance, and I need to defeat him to make him sane again. As far as boss fights go, this one is quite easy compared to what I've faced so far. So after a not-so-intense boss fight, I'm able to defeat Kusanagi, and return the sanity to my friend that I know from the future, but she doesn't know me right now. Don't think about it too hard, time travel is weird, okay? So, something lore, Himiko wants me to help stop her brother, Hiruko, because he went absolutely insane and unleashed a primordial demon thing that threatens the entire world, because... reasons. You know, typical sibling activity. At this point, my build can only be stopped by one of two things happening. One, I run out of Omnio magic, or two, I encounter a tough enough boss. With that in mind, Bard, play me some sick beats!
Where's the fucking army?
Actually, wait, no, I get yokai teardrops. And then you'll say something like, how dare you, or, I don't know.
What are you doing? Bathing?
It's called relaxing, Himiko.
Himiko, blast his ass!
It seems I have arrived back to where I first began, now much stronger, and just in time to face the obligatory Nioh 3 enemy rush before arriving at the boss of the area, my brother. At least I think he's supposed to be my brother. For those who haven't been paying attention to the lore, most people thought he was going to be Shogun due to him actually doing stuff while I just painted. So when my dad chose me, the older brother, as the next Shogun, he got kinda angry, at which point the Dark Radiance took over him. You know, typical sibling activity. However, if we look at the player character from a real-life historical perspective, he was not a good Shogun. Well, to put it more accurately, he was a dictator. So, in a lot of ways, Tokugawa Kunimatsu is rightly justified in believing himself to be a better Shogun. Of course, Nioh 3 isn't exactly always concerned with historical context, so for now, let's just pretend that I'm actually a good Shogun in the future.
The light of hope lies unseen at the end of time. Go now!
Great. Now I'm about 200 years in the future, and while I'm already absolutely kicking ass and killing everything that comes my way, I can still obtain more power. That's right, I've finally unlocked the last dojo missions, and by completing these, I can truly showcase the terrifying power of my build. For the first dojo mission, I simply have to kill Yagyu Minonori again. Easier said than done, but all it boils down to is chaining my combos together cleverly. By defeating him, I gain access to my mystic arts. The first is Momentum, which decreases the amount of stamina used on successive attacks. The second, Firm Resolve, decreases the amount of damage I receive based on successive attacks. Both are pretty busted in their own right, but for this run, Momentum is the way to go. With Momentum equipped, I get to test it out during the Amyo Magic Veteran mission, which is just a duel against Saito Fuku. And oh my goodness, the Momentum skill is so busted. I'm chaining combos together without a break, and this is just a fraction of what it can do. And by defeating her, I gain access to a skill that increases the duration of my magic effects even further. It seems I have now become Death, destroyer of game balance. And so, I go on, leaving a pile of bodies in my wake, before I encounter the next boss, the Gun Boy. Well, encountering a boss is a strong word at this point. A more accurate description would be, the boss encountered me. Dear Nioh 3, I have broken your game balance. Nerf it if you want, but let's be honest, I'll just find another way if you do. Right, the lore. Something, tyrannical government, something, revolution, and they want me to deal with all of these problems by myself. I wonder who could have set up those policies, though. You know, it's getting harder to stay in denial every day. Well, he doesn't have to know that I technically may have set up this domino effect, so I'm just going to not tell him I come from the past. In any case, there's not much left that can stop me. Anything that remains is merely a formality at this point. I suppose I should start wrapping up this challenge. Cue the music! This is the crucible that made me lost, like, multiple times. I'll call this the getting lost crucible. The evil-ass crucible of the directionally challenged. Who's aggroed and where are you? Is it up there? It's those things? Surprised no one has fell to death here. Maybe I can fix that statistic. Despite the odds, I am alive. Unfortunately, because of the odds, if I do not get a shortcut or a shrine soon, I am going to lose all of the sources of my power. This Omnio magic, this is the only thing keeping me alive. Die. Oh, please be a safe point. Please be a safe point. Please. Only living on hopes and dreams right now. Die, 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 die. Please die. Oh, fuck. It's dead. Oh my goodness. Save point. Alright, I see a victim. Hello there. Bye. Ow. This grab is nasty. I do not mess around with my combos. If you breathe, you die. Them's the rules. I'm sorry. I'd say I don't make the rules, but I do, in fact, so. Oh, is this? Oh yeah, this is the top of the area. This is the boss fight area. Hold on. They're bringing someone to the thingy. Wood Boy. It's Pinocchio without the nose. I forgot the plot here, but thank goodness. Bye. The infinite bullshitsu combo is truly broken. Oh, this is Himiko! Damn, there's a lot of tension going around here.
There you are.
She's a keeper. Hi, third wheel. Am I supposed to be scared of that stupid ye-ass haircut? I am not scared of you. Another evil-ass thing has appeared. You know, dying at the last moment is very on par for me. Oh! Damn. I'm just going for a little shopping real quick. Yes. If this works on the miniguns, then I'm goated. If it doesn't, I'm screwed. I'm screwed.
It says projectiles. You can try to convince me that bullets aren't projectiles. See, it's not. This talisman is bullshit. It doesn't work. This is false advertising. Game. If the whole point of this is that it protects the caster from projectiles, it should have good niche uses, like being shot at by a minigun. Back to the protection talisman strategy. That works. Just run. Just run as fast as you can. Die. Just die. I hate you. I hate your existence. Get out of my sight. Be gone. No, damn. No, I have to go through those minigunners again. Shit. This bullshit. I hate it. Die. Just die. Holy shit. A shrine! I don't have to run past those annoying things again. Die! We are quote unquote making our way downtown. Do. Your aim is shit, by the way. Fuck you, protection talisman. What you gonna do about that, huh? You're gonna watch me kill your buddies, and you're gonna have to tolerate it. Oh, these are cannon boys. Oh, you're nothing. You're nothing. You're nothing. You operate cannons, not miniguns. You are dead. You were dead the moment they assigned you cannons instead of miniguns. Evil ass looking thing. An abnormal presence emanates within. I wouldn't have it any other way. Ah, lovely. Another crucible. If you're wondering what this crucible's gimmick is, I don't know either. As far as crucibles go, it's oddly tame and doesn't have any annoying instant kill mechanics, so overall I'm happy with it. Maybe its gimmick is luring you into a false sense of security. Nothing ever goes this well for me. Something must be wrong. Look, I'm not paranoid, you're paranoid. Well, hello there, sonny boy. Shouldn't you be showing some respect to your great-great-grandfather? Oh, never mind. He's a fish now. Well, if it isn't another annoying fish boss. The boss itself isn't that difficult. The main problem is my magic is already exhausted because I have to kill this dollar store Vergil before fighting him. Well, that's not entirely true, because apparently you can just find him in the overworld and kill him, which leaves just the fish boss to fight. This information was not something I knew when doing the run though, so I ended up needlessly suffering during this boss fight. But if Okita is dealt with beforehand, this boss fight would be a bit of a joke. Even if the boss is very mobile, that also means it whiffs quite a bit on certain attacks. So as always, with persistence, luck, and the power of my deep hatred of fish, I persevere in hopes of killing the final boss of this time period.
seems I've made a foe of the wrong person.
It seems I have returned to this place yet again, for the third time this game. Just in time for Nioh's obligatory boss rush sequence. Nothing says fun like fighting bosses you've already fought before again to make the final boss feel more cinematic. All joking aside, I don't actually dislike the boss rush sequence in Nioh. Personally, my favorite is how Nioh 2 did it, but Nioh 3 is passable even if it feels a bit shoehorned in. But in general, boss rush sequences are easy to abuse and get old quickly. Luckily, it is rather brief before going right into the crucible section. The only difficult part here is being forced to kill enemies while constantly being blasted with lightning from above. I spend some extra time exploring here to grab some more items to prepare myself for the final boss, since it'll be tough. Since I'm nearing the end of this run, I'd like to talk about my thoughts on this game a bit. I've been a big fan of the Nioh games for a while, so I was really excited to make a video on Nioh 3. But as I played it more and more, I felt like the game itself doesn't have much fun challenge running potential, despite its diverse amount of abilities. It's been designed in such a way that it tries to force you to use as many mechanics as possible with little room for creativity, which is the sole reason I chose to do an all-hit run. Originally, this was going to be a pacifist challenge, but the NPCs are so weak it takes over 20 minutes for a singular boss to die. There was no unique challenge aspect to it, just mindless torture. So I likely won't return for a second challenge run of this game unless some things change. Namely, making the tutorial skippable, or who knows, maybe I'll return to it regardless if you guys can think of something that sounds interesting to me. That isn't saying that I dislike the game though. Gameplay-wise, I enjoyed Nioh 3. It's a good game and I do recommend trying it, but I just think as far as challenge runs go, this game doesn't have any room for actually interesting runs that push the limits of the game. However, I still believe that Nioh 2 is overall a better experience if you've never played a Nioh game before. Nioh 3 is a fun game and a good standalone title, but if you come into it with the expectations of a better Nioh 2, then you'll likely find yourself slightly disappointed. With all that said, the game is still a solid 9 out of 10 for me. I had a ton of fun in my first playthrough, even if I found the game a bit easy for my tastes. 9.5 if they were to remove that damn bird! But eventually, I arrive at the Death Veil boss, which is less of a boss battle and more of an enemy rush. I still don't exactly know what purpose this thing serves, but oh well. All I have to do is defeat the waves and break the crystal thing to damage the boss. And I hear you asking, but Blue Thunder, won't you run out of Omnio magic quickly? Isn't this boss the perfect counter to your build? Yes. Yes it is. However, the boss saves the damage you deal to it between attempts, so as long as I can clear even one wave, I've made progress in the boss fight. Congratulations, Nioh 3, you have reinvented the Bed of Chaos. Admittedly, a better version of the Bed of Chaos, but that's a really low bar to clear. And at the end of it all, the final boss of the entire run. It's been a long journey filled with ups and downs, and now it all boils down to two men who have only known violence, who have cut down everything that stood in their path without mercy. Two people who sought power above everything else, in hopes of standing absolute in the face of adversity. Two beings, less than human, more monster than anything else. If I manage to defeat him, I will have proven that you can successfully all hit Nioh 3.
to end. I finally managed to stop you.
Am I nothing but your meddlesome younger brother?
Oh, they're ascending or whatnot. Or descending. Maybe it balances out.
And I'm left with one singular choice. For the entirety of this run, I have cut down anything that stood in my way, unmoving and unflinching, showing no mercy to those who got in my way, and I shall not stop now. I was once asked what makes a shogun. A shogun, like any leader, is made by how he acquired his power and what he does with said power. And one such as me, who has only known bloodshed, cannot possibly bring peace. If you enjoyed this video, consider checking out my other challenge runs. Watching another video is the #1 way YouTube decides if a video is good or not, so it helps me out a ton. With that, until next time, don't you dare let the Dark Radiance take control.